But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more to be the man.
Welcome everyone to our ninth installment of Meet the Squad. I'm so excited to have on today Carolyn Menjivar, who is running for State Senate District 20 in Los Angeles County area in Southern California. And as you all know, we have endorsed 14 candidates who are running for California legislature, a body that Working Families Party believes is arguably one of the most important policy bodies in the country, represents 1 out of every 8 Americans, and passes at least 3 times as many bills as US Congress. And we want our members and our audience to pay attention to these races and get to know these incredible candidates who come from the community, are now running to represent the communities that they were born and raised in. So we have on here Carolyn, who is a Marine Corps veteran who served during Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and a former staffer for Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti. She also happens to be running against an establishment candidate whose only qualification is a politically powerful father who is the sitting incumbent for this seat. We're really rooting for Carolyn, and we're excited for everyone to get to know her. Carolyn, thanks so much for being on today with us.
Thank you, Jane. Thanks for having me.
So could you tell our audience a little bit about you and who you are?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's really why I'm here. It's the identities that make up who I am that really push me to run for office. First and foremost, I am the daughter of immigrant parents. I'm the daughter of Salvadorian parents who fled their civil war in El Salvador to come here for a better life. I am their firstborn, so a lot weighs heavy on the firstborn of Latino families. I've always been drawn to helping the community, which is why I signed up to defend this country as a Marine Corps veteran. I served for 7.5 years, but that's just a little part of who I am. I'm a social worker first. That's where my education is. It's understanding fundamentally why certain systems affect some communities over others. I am an EMT. I worked on an ambulance for 5 years, transporting patients, seeing firsthand how our healthcare system works, the support needed for our healthcare workers, the support needed in accountability for skilled nursing facilities, and the lack of mental health system we have. I'm a domestic violence therapist who's been on the front line of, witnessing some just grotesque activities or events that happen in interpersonal violence and understanding how much more needs to be done to support these survivors and victims. I am a staffer, like you mentioned, having worked in local government on the front lines, forming coalitions, fighting alongside individuals, and providing a voice to people that perhaps at the moment couldn't find theirs. And then once they do find their voice, working together to make louder noises. I am a person who's worked in the nonprofit world currently now, bringing resources to the community. Overall, Jane, I'm just someone who's grown up in this community and has done everything possibly that she could to give back to this community, whether it's training high schools, middle school teachers on how to be more safe and affirming for queer youth, because I think about myself when I was a young queer kid and the resources I didn't have, or someone who, takes the same youth to UCLA, my alma mater, to show them that higher education is accessible and there are safe and affirming schools. So that's who I am in a nutshell, and that's why I'm here.
It's incredibly stark, the difference between you and your opponent, who has maybe done some business background, at least that's what he claims, but really has zero community or political experience, except for the fact that his father is a sitting state senator for the district that you are running in, who's also termed out. But we're so glad that you're running. And so I think an important question that we ask all of our candidates is, why the California legislature? It's often a body that many of your friends and neighbors and family members don't pay attention to.
Right.
So what makes the California legislature sexy to you?
Great question. I've worked in city government, right? So you'd think I'd want to run in city, but it's because of those experiences that I've seen how much a city can do and where they become stuck, where the state needs to come in and provide that life jacket for these municipalities, right? And that's why I want to start in state. There's so much that can be changed at a state level, where we're the 5th largest economy in the world. And that power, that ability to solve so many of our crises stems from the state level. I'm looking to ensure that what I want to pass and push covers the entire state, because I'm running to ensure that everyone has equal access. And while, yes, I'm going to represent 1 million people in this district, I want to make sure every single person, every Californian, has the same access to the legislation I'm looking to push across the state.
And so you mentioned a little bit about the work that you've already done even before running for office. What are you most proud of accomplishing?
Oh my gosh. On a personal level, me individually, I'm very proud of myself that I got my master's. Latinos, it's about 4% of Latinos who get their master's degree. And that was huge for me, first generation. This is the reason why my parents came over here, right? I lived up to that dream they had for a better future. Given the barriers, given the fact that, single mom, we were evicted from our home, we were had a couch serve. I had to work starting at the age, literally once I turned 15 years old, to help pay for things for my mom. So that's a huge accomplishment for me individual. On a career level, I'm very proud of the San Fernando Valley Pride Parade, the first of its kind that I initiated during the pandemic in 2020. It's a parade like you would see in West Hollywood, in San Francisco, but in an area that doesn't have a lot of representation. These are your non-affluent areas. This is where Black and Brown communities are, where your tias, your abuelitos are that need to see that representation. And I was very happy that I got a coalition together with faith, with nonprofits, with stakeholders, and we took over the streets in a safe COVID way with cars and did a nice parade. 2 years running now.
I had to wait for the fire engine to go by. I live next to the busiest fire station in the coast in San Francisco. So you talked about how during your time working for city government, you really got to understand the significance of state government and what they can do to support and benefit our local communities. Could you talk a little bit about what you think might have been different over the last 5 years if we had already elected a squad like the one that we've endorsed this year to the California legislature?
For starters, we'd have healthcare for all at minimum, right? Just at minimum. You can talk about just what recently happened earlier this year, right? In February, where unfortunately AB 1400 didn't pass. And I know as we continue to offset this bench and grow our bench, we'll get to that point. I also think in the last 5 years, especially for the pandemic, if we would have had universal childcare, we wouldn't have seen so many people, especially women, lose their jobs during the pandemic. I do understand childcare had to close because of this, but there was no net in place. And there still is no net in place to be able to achieve this, because this goes beyond gender parity. This is touches poverty, inequity, and so forth. At minimum, those were two things that I think if we had this bench 5 years ago, we would have been able to accomplish.
So when you win on November 8th and you join your new colleagues in Sacramento in December, what are the first 3 bills you introduce?
So my first one is going to be around mental health. I'm a social worker, like I mentioned earlier, and we don't have yet a robust mental health system in the state of California. And I'm looking to initiate a bill that's going to create that, especially when it comes to our unhoused individuals. I mentioned that I worked as an EMT, and I actually transported patients onto what's called the 5150 hold, where they get held for 3 days and they get kicked back onto the street. So I'm looking to push a bill to provide support for psychiatrists, physicians, to not have the only option of kicking people back on the street, but providing a net where there's a permanent solution, a more concrete solution to give them the support. So that's the first bill I'm looking to initiate in California. The second one is going to be around environmental justice. There's been a couple bills that have died in the Senate, and honestly, it's at the hands of sitting senators that I'm looking to take over for in this seat specifically, I'm looking to ensure that we create that buffer between oil drilling at minimum until we remove our dependency away from fossil fuels. So I want to tackle bills around air quality, around buffer zones, around our approach to retrofitting our buildings to ensure that any new affordable housing is built on clean energy. Those are the bills I'm looking to bring up in Sacramento.
So many of the candidates that we endorse don't have a lot of establishment support, but I think you, even more uniquely or more so than many of our candidates, are seeing even less institutional support because you're running against the son of the sitting state senator of your district. So you have to go door knocking. You don't have a choice. You have to go out and meet the voters yourself with your volunteers. So I was hoping you can share with our audience one of your favorite door knocking or campaigning stories thus far.
I'm not going to say it's my favorite, but it's a story I have to share. About 5 weeks ago, I was canvassing in a community in the district, Sun Valley, and I fell off an uneven sidewalk / curb, and I ended up fracturing my ankle, an avulsion fracture. I thought it was a sprain, but it was worse than that. And it was pretty bad. I was wearing my Caroline Menjivar shirt. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm wearing my campaign shirt. I'm crying on the floor. They're like, I'm not gonna vote for this person. So it's been almost 6 weeks straight. And it's, it's been in the past 3 days that I've been able to walk on it now. So not a favorite story, but definitely a story for the campaign. And it's also showed, my perseverance, me continuing to canvass. I have a video of me on my new scooter as I canvass, still with my broken ankle, and it's not stopping me to connect with the community.
What have some of the responses been like when you go to the doors or when you're on the streets, when people see you on your scooter?
It's been really good because I'll joke around. I was like, I'll break a bone for you. They're just like, oh, good for you. You're still out here. While I still have volunteers, it's very important for me to be out there, to lead the way it's just important for me to make sure if volunteers are out doing it, I'm doing it as well. And it has helped. People have seen how much I've gone, how far I will go for this area.
It's inspiring for your volunteers and supporters, and it's also inspiring for your constituents to see you out there yourself. And campaign is so grueling, and sometimes you forget why you're running because it's so physically exhausting. And as hard as it can be to get out to door knock every day, once you're out, it's amazing. And it's amazing to connect with folks, and it's amazing to talk to folks who've never met a candidate before or someone who represents them. And so it's just really beautiful to see you out there door knocking your community. So tell us something, as we talk about your district, tell us something that most people don't know about the district you're running to represent.
This district have entertainment capital almost, right? I have the city of Burbank. Warner Studios is here, right? Film LA is always filming in this district. I have one of the most popular areas. We have what's called the Pink Motel in Sun Valley that is always being used for filming purposes. So there's a lot of revenue coming out of this very district and a lot of opportunity for apprenticeships, for connections with high schools, for kids to start learning on the job training, things that I'm already thinking about of me wanting to create. So I don't know if a lot of people know that.
So we've now reached the lightning round of our interview, where we ask for rapid response questions to help our audience get to know you as Carolyn and not just the candidate. So first question we ask, are you a morning or night person?
Morning.
Oh, that's great. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
What song do you canvass or campaign to get energized and get out the door?
I'm a very cheesy person. 500 miles has been on repeat. It's the one that I will walk 500 miles for you.
That's a great song. What are you binging or streaming when you're not campaigning, if you have time?
No, yeah. So I always say like between 11 to midnight is when I have my downtime, right? So I'll watch my show, and you can't make fun of me right now. I've never watched it when I was younger. So I'm watching Dawson's Creek. Yep.
I totally missed out on Dawson Creeks, but I respect that. It's really funny, but when you're doing really serious work all day, you want to watch something that's really lighthearted and just going to take your mind off of it.
Right.
What are some of your favorite restaurants or eating spots in your districts?
Ooh, oh my gosh. So I'm Salvadorian. I love my pupuseria, El Carusel, Mis Raíces, great pupusas in those area. Hanzo Sushi in the city of San Fernando is my go-to for a sushi place. I go there a lot. Let me see. I like poke as well in Van Nuys. There's Poke Bowl. Those are my go-to places.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so one of the hardest questions that we ask our candidates, who do you root for, Lakers or Clippers?
Neither. I'm a football girl, so go Rams.
All right. What is your go-to karaoke song?
Before He Cheats by Carrie Underwood.
And least enjoyable job you've
I was at LA Valley College, which I was very upset when we were redistricted. I lost LA Valley College by a couple of blocks. But back in the day, we had Valley's Gym. I think they all turned into LA Fitness. And I worked there first as a receptionist. It was really across the street from the gym, so it was beautiful. They promoted me to sales representative, and I can't sell you items. I'm just not that person. So we were selling memberships, and they always wanted me to sell the most expensive one. And I would see people coming in that were of low income, and I would tell them like, don't get this. This is a waste of money. Like, you want this one. This was the cheapest one. That's all you need. I would get pulled in and asked, why are you only selling the cheapest one? And I would tell them because I can't lie to them. I don't, it's not fair. So I hated that job a lot because I felt like we were taking advantage of my gente. It was Latinos coming in. And needless to say, I didn't last long in that job. I was more of a, let me stand in the front and greet you because I can't sell you a package that you really don't need.
Well, I think you are better suited for public service, and the standard or principle that you hold will serve you well. So another difficult question, if you had to delete every app on your phone but 3, which 3 would you keep?
That one's tough. I would keep, of all social media, Instagram. Instagram is my thing, so I would keep Instagram.
And what's your Instagram handle so everyone can follow you?
Yeah, at Join Caroline Menjivar. And then I don't know if this counts as an app, but my Gmail app, because the iPhone comes with the email, so I would like my Gmail app to stay on. And then Netflix.
Okay. Netflix on your phone?
Netflix on my phone. Yes. Yeah, those would be the 3.
And final question, tell us one thing that you love about our incredible state, California.
I'm a big outdoors person. My launch video was actually during a hike in the district. And before campaigning, I would spend most of my weekends finding new trails to hike, going to rivers. And I'm very thankful that I live close enough to so many of these beautiful outdoor places. So it's, I have the Angeles Forest across about an hour away, going to Central California, NorCal, Sequoia, Yosemite. Those are my just top-notch favorite places.
Carolyn, thanks so much for joining us. We really look forward to introducing you to our broader audience at Working Families Party, and we're so proud that you're a part of our squad. It's so important to have candidates who have personally experienced eviction, who grew up in the district that they're running to represent, and really know what it's like to serve at the local and state level. So thank you so much for running. And we encourage everyone to follow Carolyn on Instagram and to go volunteer because she's out there walking every day. So dial for her, walk for her, donate to her. Carolyn, what's your website?
It's CarolineMenjivar.com.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
But